Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Life Leo. In this video, we are going to learn about Python interpreter, Python shell, Python IDE, Python built-in types, and what do you mean by variables. First of all, before going to know about the working of Python interpreter, first, whenever we are writing any code, that is any C language or C++ or Python or Java, anything, we must and should need the editor. So with the help of editor, we will write a program and we are gonna save. So what is the extension for saving a Python program? So after writing the program, if you are saving the Python file, means we have to save with the extension of .py. Then after saving the file, what we have to do? We have to run the program. Here we are not compiling because Python is an interpreted language but not the compiled language. That means we will run the code directly. Whenever we click on run, what it is going to happen? So the code will reach to the interpreter. What is the phase in the interpreter? In interpreter, the code will be passed to an inner compiler. Then that inner compiler is going to verify the first line. So if there are no errors, then it is going to convert into the bytecode. Then again, it will pass it to the virtual machine. Like this, the process will be repeated until all the lines will become true. So what does this virtual machine do? Whatever the code was compiled by the compiler in the interpreter, the virtual machine is going to add any external library modules. These external library modules are like are header files in C programming. Hash include stdio.io.h. What is that stdio.h? Standard input output header file. The functions related to the input and output are going to be available in that stdio.h header file. So like that, if any more libraries are there like pandas or numpy or os or scikit, these type of things are the external libraries. They are gonna added at the virtual machine. After completing all this process, then the Python will run the program. That we are going to get the output. Now let us look into the steps wise manner. First we will write the code in with the help of editor, and then we are going to save, and then we are going to run the file through the Python interpreter. Then first the code will be compiled, and that code is called as a bytecode. Then it is passed to a virtual machine. Bytecode is nothing but a low level representation of your source code. That is simply machine level language code. Next, the source code which is translated to bytecode, because bytecode can run much more quickly than the original source code. Why? Because source code was in the simple English language, but the bytecode will be in the machine level language, that is ones and zeros. That's why bytecode is faster while compared to the original source code. That's why we are going to translate. Then the newly generated bytecode goes for the execution. So who is going to execute? Python virtual machine. Then it goes through the bytecode instructions one by one and carries out the operations. And at the end, if any libraries what we have told in the last one, then that will be included. And if no errors are there, nothing is there, then the program will be executed. These are the 7 important steps in working of Python interpreter. Now, what is Python shell? Example, just now we have seen that to write any programming language code, we need some editors. Like that, for Python, there is a default shell, that is it is like an editor. So Python provides a shell which is used to execute a single Python command and display the result. Now, what does this Python shell represents? It is also known as REPL. R means read, E means evaluate, P means print, L means loop. So first it reads the command, that is whatever the thing you type, that is called as the reading, which was read from the standard input, that is keyboard. Then evaluating, like if you have entered the x equal to 10 and y equal to 20, that means a 10 will be stored in the x, y will be getting the 20. Evaluate the command such as x equal to 20 is nothing but read, y equal to 10 is nothing but read. Now evaluate the command is x plus y, that is evaluation, that is performing the operation. Then what is print? Now after performing the operation, it is going to give the result, that is 30. So 20 plus 10, 30 evaluated and the printed the result. And the last one is loop it back, read the command again, that is after the result has been printed, then again it waits for the input, that is you can give the other inputs as well as you can perform the other operations. That is a Python simple shell. Like this, Python IDEs are there, that is integrated development environment. So what does this integrated development environments means? So these are nothing but the code editors which are specifically designed for the developers for writing the codes and debugging their program easily. For example, we can write the Java code using the notepad, as well as we can write the Java code using the NetBeans. We can write with the help of the Eclipse. That means this NetBeans, Eclipse, all these are the integrated development environment. That is a same place where you can write the various languages codes. That is the integrated development environment. Now using these Python IDEs, you can manage a large code base and you can achieve the quick development. Developers can use these different editors to create desktop or web applications. Features of using IDE. What are the main features of using the Python IDE means? Nothing but code completion. That is, half of the code syntaxes are there already available with the Python IDE. In the next video, I will show you the one of the IDE. Next one is the code inspection, that is code verification, error highlighting and fixes. For example, if you got any error in our normal Python shell, it will show you an exception, but it doesn't highlight where that error has been occurred. But this IDE shows you the error highlighting also. Debugging, we can debug easily. Version control system and code refactoring. What is this code refactoring? Refactoring means using the same code without changing our outlook. That is code refactoring. Now top Python IDEs. We have various IDEs, but these are the most commonly used IDEs. That is PyDev, PyCharm, Spider, Jupyter Notebook. This is the most useful one. Rodeo, Thorny, Microsoft Visual Studio, Eric, Wing, Atom. So out of this one, most of the people heard about this Jupyter Notebook. So this is one of the famous one for running our Python programs. Now, Python built-in types. What does this Python built-in types means? So basically, if you are storing anything, that means it will belong to any one type. For example, if I am storing 10, 10 means integer type. 10.25, it is a float value. For example, if I say storing it as a Ramu, Ramu is a string. That means this types tells that what type of data you are going to store. So in our Python also, data types are the classification or categorization of data items, such as 10. It is one category. It comes under the integer. 10.65. 10.65 comes under the float. We know normal thing. Then Ramu. Ramu comes under the string. So these are the three different categories. So what does they represent? They represent nothing but what type of data you are going to be stored and what operations can be performed on the data. So these are the Python built-in types. Now let us look into the standard or built-in types of the Python. Now first, different categories of the data types of Python is numeric. One of them is an integer, complex, float. You know integer. Anything which is represented in the whole manner, that is called as the integer. Either it may be a positive or negative one. Float. anything represented with the decimal format 11.65. It is a float value. So either it may be a positive or negative. Complex. Complex is nothing but representing anything in the manner of a plus ib. That is a real value with the imaginary ones also. That is complex. And the second one is the sequential data type. So sequential data types concern the strings, lists, and tuple that you are going to learn in the future. Next, Boolean. Boolean, you know that Boolean means only two values, either true or false. Next, sets. This is another data type. And the last one is the dictionary. So, our Python supports the main data types as a numeric, Boolean, set, dictionary, and sequence. Now, variables. So, before going to learn about the variables, I will take an example of our memory system. So, let us assume that this is my memory of 1 GB. I want to store 10. So let us assume that 10 is an integer which is going to occupy 4 bytes. So 1 GB means 1024 MB. Then 1024 MB means 1024 into 1024 KB. Then again 1024 into 1024 into 1024 bytes. That means for 4 bytes out of this 1 GB, if I want to store 10 in my memory, it will be at any place or any point of that particular location. We don't know where it is going to be stored. So at this moment, variables will help us. What does the variable mean? Variable is nothing but reserving the memory locations to store the values. Reserving memory locations to store values. So when we create a variable, that means we are reserving some space in our memory. So that means, for example, if you have created a variable of some x or y, that means there we are in our memory, we are holding some memory for this variable. In a simple manner, if you want to say that, a variable can be thought as a bag that holds the data, which can be changed later or which can be used in the program. That is variable. But to write this variable, we must and should follow some rules. What are those rules? A variable name must start with a letter or underscore. A variable name cannot start with a number. A variable name can only have alphanumeric characters and underscores. That means it doesn't support any special characters. And the most important thing is that variable names are case sensitive. That means the alphabets in the lower case are not equal to the alphabets in the upper case. So if you observe here, name, name, name. Three things are the same. But if we consider as per the variable, three are different because here the lower case, here the uppercase n, here all the remaining letters are also in the uppercase. And the last one is you should not use the variable names as the keyword names. So we are having some keywords for our Python, reserved keywords, which means whose meaning is already known to the Python. So we shouldn't use those keywords. Now, how to find out what is the type allocated? Find out, for example, we have I will give you the previous lecture in the iCard, because in that I have told you that Python feature, one of the important feature, that is Python is a dynamically typed. That is, if you store x equal to 10, that means 10 is an integer. It is automatically understandable by Python, and then it is going to allocate the x as the integer. Or if you store x equal to 11.65, 11.6 is a 11.65 is a float. That means with the x is automatically allocated the type of float. So here the Python will allocate automatically. That's why it is called as a dynamically typed language. Now, what type has been allocated to a variable can be found out by this the help of type of variable name. For example, if you want to find the what is the type allocated to x, then I can write it as the type of x. If I want to find out that y equal to Ramu, then simply what I can do, can use that type of type of y. That means then I am going to, for x I am going to get the answer as the integer. Then for y I am going to get the answer as the string. So these are the things which are mainly useful for reserving some memory, for storing some values which can be used later or which can be changed in the future in our program. So in this video you have learned about the Python shell, Python IDE, Python interpreter working style, and Python variables and Python built-in types. With this I am going to end this video. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel Life Leo. Thank you.